same chair, vice chair, I think is very encouraging. For the next 12 months, it's a good sign to our residents. Um, County government is functioning well. The board is working well together. They have the best interest of the public at heart when they make the decisions. And so I'm very encouraged that this next year will not be a year of great change, but continued progress. This year will be an election year. And so not only for all 7 of the county commissioners, but also our other elected officials, sheriff, prosecutor, clerk, register of deeds, treasurer, and water resources commissioner. So we are looking forward to a good year.
We were joking before the segment started that maybe if we had $700 million we could put in the county coffers. Wouldn't that be cozy? Guess we can't authorize a lottery ticket purchase, huh?
Well, if I win that $700 million, Richard, you'll probably never hear me on the radio again.
Oh, I can't imagine why. All right, we're talking with Kelli Scott and Derek King. We'll come right back in just a moment on WBCK. 16 WBCK. Kelli Scott is here, Calhoun County Administrator, and Derek King, Chair of the County Board of Commissioners here in Calhoun. We're talking about the last year and looking forward to the next. I suppose, like anything else, our last year we had some ups and some downs, didn't we?
Yeah, I think one of the things to start with that's definitely an up, which relates to public safety, which is always top priority for our residents. It's about 2/3 of our budget goes directly for the sheriff's operations, the jail, and the courts.
2/3.
And so this
wow.
last year we saw the opening of a new building, which you don't hear about often these days, especially in government. You know, why would we build a new building? Well, we opened a new law enforcement center, which was a collaboration between the Office of the Sheriff and the Marshall City Police and the Michigan State Police. And it really, you know, collaboration is one of those buzzwords that we may get banned at some point.
Might get on that banned
right,
list,
might
yeah.
get on the banned list, but I can't emphasize enough that this project would have never taken place. This $11 million building that's in a great location as far as law enforcement and their response, without grants and extra appropriations from the state, without us figuring out how to share operating costs and some of the staffing in that building. And so that was one of our biggest highlights, is to be able to figure out a solution to get the sheriff's office in the county seat, which is Marshall. We'll be demolishing the old jail that's behind the county building, which is really an eyesore for the community, and just overall saves money and, more importantly, allows for the law enforcement personnel to work closely together physically and then have better communication, have better working relationship to solve crimes.
Is it our sense of collaboration, that word that may get banned after a while? That was a word that came from the governor years ago now. He said, guess what? We're tightening the belt. You got to figure out how to work together better. Have we done that?
You know, just on this project here, you have shoulder to shoulder 3 agencies. So when you hear of something in the out county that's happening, now Marshall City will hear about it in case it migrates up there. You know, and it's absolutely happening. You know, we've seen it with the road department, where we share a managing director, and we've collaborated with Jackson. We see it with consolidated dispatch, where several agencies are grouped together to have a combined dispatch, and overall the cost for dispatch for all those agencies is far less than what it would have cost for each agency to have their own dispatch. And then you know, the other thing that Kelly's not taking credit for is one of our pieces of that at the county is we actually financed that building. And the reason why we were able to finance that building is because of the great job that Kelly and Brad and Kim and the folks at the county and administration has done, is got our county in such a great financial situation that our bond rating was so much lower than everyone else's that we could just literally save millions of dollars financing it ourselves. So it worked out really well.
All right. So what other glimmers did we see last year, Kelly?
Yeah, just want to kind of mention that one of the themes throughout each of these, both successes and failure stories, really is working together. So within county government, it's super important because our elected officials have independent statutory ability. We have 10 union groups within the county, so it's important that management and employees work together so that we have engaged employees and good customer service. And it's very important that we, as a county government, work together with the other local units of government within the county. Again, collaboration is overused, but we've not just talked the talk; we have walked it. And I would say another great example of that is our partnership with the city of Battle Creek and with some of the local manufacturing companies within Battle Creek. So we have private-public partnership in a health and wellness center for our employees and their dependents and those of all of those other companies. And so thousands of employees have a patient-centered, convenient, low-cost way to get their primary health care. And if they get sick on the weekends, they're open after hours without waiting. And that has led to tremendous savings for our employees and for the county's budget as far as healthcare costs. Our healthcare costs have actually gone down for each of the last 2 years, which is entirely opposite of the national trends and even the local trends for government. So we are very proud of our commissioners for supporting those initiatives that value our employees, that save the taxpayer dollars. And it's more difficult to partner with other agencies than it is to do things on your own. It sometimes takes longer than we would wish. But I would say we definitely over the past several years have learned to work better together.
Kelli Scott and Derek King are here. We're talking about Calhoun County this half hour on WBCK 823 WBCK. Kelli Scott is here, County Administrator here in Calhoun, and Derek King, once again the Chair of the Calhoun County Board of Commissioners. We had some challenges this year, didn't we? What are some of the ones that pop up in your mind?
We had a couple, maybe more than a couple, but a couple that pop up to me is, whenever something happens in government, it normally makes the front page. Of course, we had the problems at Summit Point, which is hard for us because, and what we look out for is we want to look out for the patient and how does that affect the patient and the citizens and their care. So that was very disheartening, but I think it was handled fairly well. I think that the investigation went well, as a lot of folks say. Justice may be served. Justice isn't a outcome, but it's a process. So, and that process took its course. We also had a problem in the Veterans Affairs Office that is now going great. We have a new director, Aaron Edelson, that is doing a fantastic job and really servicing those veterans like they need and deserve. That's a county-wide voted millage that supports that office, so there is no general fund transfer, and it's great to see good things happening there. What else, Kelly?
We've had some turnover in leadership over the last 2 years in our road department. Of course, the county board is now in charge of the road department, different than almost all other counties in Michigan. And, back to my original statement, leadership matters. And every time you get new leadership, there's some learning curves. There's some, a little bit slow down trying to rebuild relationships. This past year, in spite of that transition, we have had an unprecedented amount of work being done on roads. Several of the projects were not funded locally. There were some state-infused money. For example, Golden Avenue, right in front of your studio, was resurfaced because of some one-time funding, shot in the arm from the state, designated for projects that have high traffic, high impact. And we put together a new capital improvement plan for the road department and are right now building a new salt barn that's 75% funded by the state, by MDOT.
Wow.
So that will allow us to store our salt inside, which is a good thing, in the outside of the elements. It will allow us to buy more in bulk, so save money there. And we also store salt for the state itself because we take care of a lot of the state roads around here. And so just another, again, really good partnership. And we have been pretty good at taking those challenges, taking the problems that come at us and using them as opportunities to do good things. Speaking of roads and in that type of a partnership, we have a good working relationship with the Nottawasepi Huron Band of the Potawatomi, our local tribe that has their reservation in Athens. And so they're separate federal government. We meet with them often, their leadership and our leadership. This past year, the county board approved a new road maintenance agreement where the tribe is actually agreeing to maintain with their own resources, their own people, their own trucks, at a higher service level, roads that surround their reservation. So, the county owns the roads. They're agreeing to maintain them. It's good for everyone. And we really appreciate that relationship as well.
If we can go back to the Summit Point story just for a second, how are you feeling today about that? You were very kind in talking to us as that story was unfolding. Feeling better about it today?
Yeah, the Summit Point board met earlier this week, and I reported to the Board of Commissioners last night that I'm currently the chair of the Audit and Finance Committee, and a lot of the problems that arose at Summit Point related to finance, related to internal controls, purchasing policies, et cetera. And so we're very happy that we have a new auditor in place. We have a new actuarial firm and investment agency that oversees the pension fund. That was another topic of contention. We have a new purchasing policy in place. And we have hired a new general counsel, an attorney on staff, as well as a deputy director who is also an attorney. We're working on a new compliance officer. So many of those controls are a lot tighter now and give us a lot more comfort that the risk is very minimal that we would end up in a situation like we had at the beginning of this year, last year.
So looking forward, Derek, any wishes, dreams for the coming year, county-wise?
We here at Calhoun County, we have a robust boarding situation at the jail where a lot of folks don't really realize, but, we can hold about 600 people at the jail. I know you talk to the sheriff, Matt Saxton, regularly, and he's pretty humble about this. We normally only have about 300 local population and then an additional 200 to 250 boarders, which are paid, whether that's from immigration or from other cities or municipalities that bring them in. Excuse me. And so that's a big revenue source. The sheriff really offsets a lot of his budget with the boarding. So we're hoping that continues in the right direction and holding folks there for those agencies. And we just want to continue to make sure that we put some money away in our rainy day fund, which we did. I'm on the budget committee as well as Commissioner Hodsma, Commissioner Frisbee, and we passed our budget fairly early this year again, and we're putting a little bit more money away. We're working at paying off those legacy costs and getting our unfunded liabilities taken care of. So we're really headed in the right direction.
All right. Well, congratulations on those successes, and we'll look forward to speaking with you again in this coming year.
Sounds good. Thanks, Richard.
Thanks to the both of you. Kelli Scott and Derek King, WBCK 830.